In today's video, I'm going to show you 4 things. The first thing is Ted's diorama of this awesome Blood Angel Librarian. Then we've got the Blood Angel Army Showcase. I go into a bit of detail about collecting them and just showing off some of the cool minis and conversions that I have there. There's a Just Move challenge as well, so if you want to participate in getting more involved and moving more, stay tuned for that. And finally, we have some behind the scenes of the 150,000 points Army Showcase of the Space Marine setup. Words, I'll throw them at you, it's your job to organize them. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, leave your comments. What should I focus on next? Not too long ago, the man holding the camera right now, which is Ted, he came up to me and he showed me this on his Instagram. He showed me this diorama that he painted up of this Blood Angel Librarian in this really cool lit, cool as in like that's really neat looking lit diorama. And my eyes were drawn to the paint job. I thought it was super cool. And then he said something surprising to me, which I wasn't expecting him to say. Because in my experience with Ted's stuff, Ted's a great painter. Like I look at his Instagram and it's ridiculous. And this is a little odd, me saying this to you in front of Ted who's holding the camera, but it's true. If you look at Ted's stuff, you'd be like, that's a painter who paints, who has experience painting. That's a cool mini, and then you would just get lost on the page like you normally would, any good painter you would see, right? That's exactly what happened to me. And so when he said to me that he had forgotten the original reason why he was enjoying the painting in the first place, and he was getting caught up on the technical aspects of the different techniques to use, and I suppose the different materials, there's complication added with any hobby project can easily balloon into a million things. It was surprising, and yet I thought, have I ever experienced that? Have I ever experienced a project where at the very beginning it's just a matter of, yeah, let's go, let's put it on, let's slap some pin on that thing, it's gonna be so much fun. But then once you get in the middle of it, you're so lost in the middle of the details that it's like, why did we start this in the first place? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Ted, but is that basically the sum of what happened with this one?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Basically it. And you know, it's funny because I shared a reel on Instagram, kind of just like relating that, and there was a good amount of relatable response. Like people were responding to it, like, oh yeah, that happens a lot. That happens all the time. No matter how cool the thing is, because when I look at this thing, it's like, that's really cool. Like there's obvious thought and intent put behind it. There's a story that it tells inherently. I want to know what his name is. I want to know why he's there. What's happening? Why is he the only one left? Why is he alone? Like all these questions come up, and that's the power of a diorama. And yeah, that's just a cool thing I wanted to show. To encourage more movement in the community, I challenge you to 10 squats. That's it. Just 10 squats. Oh man, those joints are cracking all the way along the way. And my form, don't look at my form. It's not the best form. I'm just moving the way my body feels like it can move. And I'm being as careful as I can, right? Be as careful as you can if you're gonna do it. Why are we doing this? Encouraging more movement throughout the day. Get a thought in your brain, just move. You don't have to go to a gym, 30 minutes a day, necessarily in order to just move. You just gotta move. If you have the thought to move, just move. That's it. That's the challenge. We're done, I think. I can't remember. I'll do one more just to be sure. That's the challenge for today. Leave a comment below. Let me know that you did it. On to the next. Now we're in the big hall right now. I want to show you the Blood Angel Army. But Matt's sleeping. Oh, darn, I woke him up. Was that too noisy?
No, I didn't hear you.
No, you did. Okay, good. Oh, you can hear everything anyway? Oh, okay. Majority portion of the Blood Angel Army. There are some that, you know what? Let's take a look at what didn't make it to the table first, and then I'll show you this. Over here, these are super old, classic Marines, not even fully based. So kind of just lost in the shuffle. These could actually go on the table, but I think it's, when I set them up, they didn't fit nicely in rows. Here's a dreadnought magnetized. Yep, thank you very much, Joe, for doing that once upon a time, a million years ago, and the head's magnetized too. Ooh, even the fist is, you know? This is back when like magnetizing was one of the brand new things that we discovered. I just wanted to show you that. And there's a couple more over here. We have some flesh tears. So it's like, do I include them on the main table? Well, yes, of course I do, because they're Blood Angels. But I finally wanted to just showcase it, put it on display, take a look at them again. Yes, it was Space Marine 2 that got me thinking about them, period. I just wanted to kind of remind myself why I got excited about them in the first place, which was over a decade ago. They were a new release, and it was 5th edition Warhammer 40K, I believe. And it was like, hey, there's Assault Marines, and they attack really fast. They are kind of like Chaos, only a little bit faster. And so, yeah, I just gravitated to that, and here they are. Here are the original Assault Marines from the collection all those years ago. Slowly added upon once upon a time. Does anyone remember the Thunderhammer Storm Shield Captain and how many ridiculous amount of powerful attacks you got, and you can bring these in the army and it was just like a thing? Yeah, this is one of the conversions that was added at the time because it was just a fun unit to field. Yeah. Here, let's do this. Let's show off this paint job. It'll be a little bit dark here, but this is done by Jordan Powell. This is my Mephiston. Mephiston's always been one of those characters that, aside from the actual character model itself and the lore and his own cool factor, the miniature was always one of those things that instilled fear. It's like, yeah, he can instant death me, so I gotta stay away from him. Or, yeah, I'm gonna have to concentrate a good amount of my army to kill him and take him out. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to be okay with whatever he's close to will die. That was the experience of Mephiston all those years ago. This here is the newest release, newest model that exists, and fantastic paint job by Aspiring Champion Painting, Jordan Powell. Speaking of conversions, here's a custom paint job from Siege Studios. This was a gift from James, and so shout out to them for this. They convert miniatures. They have a special service where they can custom make things that don't already exist. Inherently, it's unique. This one, the Sanguinor, this exact model does not exist. They custom made it out of the Citadel miniature bits and green stuff, and it's just super cool to look at. That's probably my favorite thing when it comes to miniatures and collections is conversions. Automatically makes it unique. That is the only mini you have of that in the world. So that is just super cool. And this is the Sanguinor in the collection. And yeah, let's take a look at this Dante here. Yes, there's a ton of minis in the back, but characters take center stage. They just do. This was painted up and converted by Lee when Lee was once upon a time in the studio, and he worked for us and he did paint jobs for the armies. Shows up with that one day. He's like, Dave, here's a gift. So he just made it. I didn't even ask for it. But he knew that I loved Blood Angels and I didn't have it in my collection, so he just gave it to me. So thank you, Lee, for that. He was here recently visiting us, and so it was nice to see him again. And always thought it was cool how it was like a vertical scenic base almost, like there's a diagonal to it, so it's kind of makes it look even more so that he's kind of doing something in the air with his jump pack. But yeah. So that's it in a macro sense. I don't know if you remember this bunker that was apparently really, really good a tactic to bring this on the battlefield, and obviously it wasn't. I did that, and my buddy called me out for it. He's like, yeah, no, that's a really bad move there. Why would you do that? And I said, well, because it looks cool, okay? And I just want to, and you can take these out and put different weapons on there. And it's a terrain piece almost, yet not. It's a dual function to that one. These ones are Mario Kart, the new ones. These buggies. I always thought it was hilarious that there was a Melta shooting above the dude's head. Explain that one to me. And here is a clear imperfection of the army, right? Like you look at these land speeders, some of them don't have a base. Some of them aren't fully painted and they're chipped off. And one might argue, why do you keep them? Or why don't you finish them? I suppose I'm one of those dudes that would rather add more to the collection, and I get more out of that than I do redoing one or fully completing one. The collection is evidence of that. And so when you zoom out and it's a macro, look at all the minis, we need to understand what we're looking at here. It's an amalgamation of various paint jobs, commission work over the years. Like Greenleaf Terrain, Adam, he worked on these tactical marines when they were needed in the current edition of Warhammer at the time, which I think was 6th edition. So a bunch of those were needed for the army. There's eBay purchases that also contributed, hence the very simple paint jobs and the mismatched bases. Worthy Painting, back in the day, many years ago, did some of the, we're talking over a decade ago, they did some work for it. So I don't want to leave anyone out, I kind of forget. Chris, when he worked for us, he did some model tutorials, like the Melta in the front. Same with Vito, content producer of old. He painted up a good portion of the army, especially the Primaris portion. Like these, like the repulsors in the back, the impulsors. A lot of these new Primaris units. And adding to the collection is always a thing. It's always a thing that will be. And I don't think there's ever an end to an army that you enjoy the aesthetic of and just want to set up and look at and kind of just take it all in. What would it look like if there was this many? Like, is this a chapter according to the lore? Is there 1,000 Space Marines here? What do you think, Ted? Is there 1,000 Space Marines here?
I would say it's about a half chapter.
About a half chapter? So this is...
At least 2 companies.
At least 2 companies? Yeah. So, yeah, double this, and that's about a chapter.
I think so.
That's about what it would look like. So, anyway, yeah, that's just a little bit about the Blood Angel army.
We got Gaz slaving away here, setting up the miniatures. And then we got the boys inside these boxes because that's just a lot of fun. Got Nathaniel setting up some shelves on this side. This is all part of the tournament hall being converted into a more multi-purpose room. Which we got a bunch of games, board games, stuff gonna go there. I'm gonna set up a hobby table section. In the far back there we have studio space. And then here we have kind of gaming space, unless there's a massive diorama being set up, which in this case is the case right now. Ta-da! Kind of doesn't do it justice if I just like go like this, but gives you an idea. That's Luke in the background painting his Necron Flayed ones, and you know what? I'm gonna go over here and show that off. Luke came here. I'm pretty sure he expected to be on video. If not, I'm gonna have to rewind this about 8 seconds, unless Korn wants it. And the fact that he's getting these models out speaks louder than any word he could possibly say, and I love this so much. Do you mind if I pick one up?
Go ahead.
You know, speaking of Korn, I think this is exactly what Korn would want. Is flayed ones like this. Super cool. Literally flesh suits that they're wearing. Very cool.
Don't know how they can pick them up with claw hands, but someone put it on there.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Be sure to subscribe, like this video, leave your comments. What should I focus on next?